Hello everyone, it's Karen Burniston here with the prep work video for our April 2023 Zoom class. So we are going to the beach this month. We're going to make 2 beach themed cards featuring that tiny house pop-up, one of our favorites, and then 3 new beach dies that are going to enhance it quite lovely. So the beach bar tiny house add-ons, the beach borders, and word set 16 beach happy hour. So these 3 plus your foundation die are your required dies for this month. All right, so our first card says every hour is happy at the beach. And we are going to assemble that to be that cute little beach bar. You can see it there with all the little sand and the flamingos, little drinks, a little beach towel to sign your name. So fun little card there. That one measures 5 by 6, so you'll be able to use an A7 envelope. The second card also a A7 envelope because it's 5 by 5. Don't worry, beach happy. And then this one, give it a little shake, uses the BAM boxes inside the tiny house. So a different assembly than usual assembly, just to show something different. So you can give that a try. So this one closes a little differently too. So your beach bar is typical tiny house assembly over the fold of the card in a diagonal position. It is the opening and closing of the card that makes it pop up and pop down. With the BAM box assembly, the BAM boxes are actually inside the house and they have rubber bands in them. So that means that you can actually put your house, straight in the card. And then because it's got the BAM boxes in it, it'll pop up on its own. And I'm sorry, I'm tilted back here because of the camera angle. So that's why my house keeps falling over. But, when you look at it normally, it would pop up like, let's see, and then it'll rest on the thing. So in normal, you'd look at it like this. Yeah, so super cute little photo play papers we're using this month. All sorts of fun. All right, so what this video is taking the handouts that were in the email that you were given by the store. So that came in your email, same email that you used to get to this video, which should have these PDFs that you can print out or maybe have handy on a tablet. These are going to be your instructions that you have to get done as prep work ahead of the Zoom. And what we have to do as prep work is we have to do our paper pre-cutting instructions. That includes any scoring that we have to do for the card. Then we create a die cutting pile. Then we go through all of the die cutting instructions and we stop when we get to class day instructions. And that's true for both cards. So you're in control of this YouTube video. You can do this along with me. I don't speed it up or anything, so I'm just going to prep my kit. If I end up going a little fast for you, you can just pause me. If you want to do this in sessions, you could maybe just do your paper pre-cutting in this first session and then, come back and do your die cutting later. That's completely up to you. Your only goal is if you're joining the live class on April 15th at 11 a.m. Central, then you need to have your prep work done by then, okay? Now, the kit that you purchased from the store, might look a little neater than this, but basically it should have been separated into 2 cards. So you've got a card 1 packet and a card 2 packet. And what we do, if you're new to this program, is if the handout indicates a full sheet, then you have a full sheet in your kit, even though it doesn't look like it. It's just that the store has made the first cut for you of each of your full sheets to get it down to a size that's more easy to mail. Okay, so the store always does the first cut for you. However, I do the handouts as though you're starting from full sheets. And that way, if you want to remake these cards and you are starting from full sheets, then you'll know what that first cut was. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. What you're going to need for this first part, which is paper pre-cutting instructions and scoring, is just your kit, with all your papers in it. You need a trimmer that's capable of cutting a 12-inch piece of paper. So it's got to have a pull-out arm or something so that you can cut 12 inches, and then something to score with. So I usually typically use my scoring board. If you didn't have a scoring board, it's not like you couldn't use a tool. Let's see what I've got over here, like maybe a little embossing stylus or a bone folder, and measure and score on your trimmer. So you can do that if you need to. Okay, so diving right in on card 1, which is our beach bar pop-up card. Let me actually, I'm going to put my other handout aside. So this is a 3-page handout, although we're only going to end up using the first 2 pages in this video. And we're going to dump right up here into paper pre-cutting. So the first piece of paper we're looking for is a paper called Tide Pool. And I do kind of give you a little indication of what that looks like, but also you should still have the UPC strip attached. That's from Photoplay. Here it is, Tide Pool. As you see, you've got both parts of that card or that paper to be the equivalent of a 12 by 12. And that first cut was made for you at 4 3/4 inches. So that's this one. Okay. Now, if you want to, we can just follow the arrow and do what we need to do to this one and then come back and do our big piece. So this one, if you follow the arrow, it says we want to cut that at 5 3/4 inches. And then we want to split what's left, which ends up being 3 1/8 inch. It's going to get mostly covered up. Let me show you that in the card. Only about 2 inches of that paper is going to show, and the other inch and a little bit is underneath this paper. So, you know, if you did 3 3 1/4, it wouldn't matter. In other words, just kind of split the difference. All right, so opening up my trimmer, I want to get to 5 3/4. 5 3/4. Okay. This says it's going right in our class day pile. Now for me, class day pile means baggies. So I've just got quart size baggies here. I've labeled them card 1 and card 2. Typically, I would tell you that you find the little baggie of pre-cuts out of your kit and put it in there. But actually, card 1, there are no pre-cuts. Everything in this card is made from these 4 required dies. So there is no pre-cuts to put in there. But as we develop pieces that we don't need until class day, you can just go ahead and put them in your baggie. All right, so that's the first one. Then it says we're going to split the difference on what's left, which is about 3 1/8. So 3 1/8. It doesn't have to be super precise, like I say, because you can see mine's just a smidge off because I just kind of got close. And then those are also going to go into our class day pile or baggie. Okay. Now let's go back to the big piece. So we've already done the 4 3/4 of the top. So now we've got this big piece that we actually need to cut twice because we need another 4 3/4 inch strip that we're going to have to cut. And if you notice here, we're actually going to use a little piece out of the UPC strip, which is unusual. We don't usually do that. But for this month, we are going to use a little piece of the UPC strip. Now, what happened if your store cut your UPC strip off and threw it away? It's only these little stripes right here. So you would just use some stripes from back here. It's just the little stripes for the towel. So no worries. If that UPC strip is gone, we'll just do stripes from here. Okay, so 4 3/4. So we need 4 3/4 this way. So I've got to turn it in my trimmer. Go out here to 4 3/4. Okay, that one's going to get something done to it. But then while I've got it in my trimmer, I'm going to go ahead and cut that UPC strip off as well. Okay, keep that. This one, it says on the handout, is extra. So you don't have a lot of extra on this paper, but you got a little bit. Okay, this one, we need another 5 3/4 inch piece. So 5 3/4. That one is going into our class day baggie. That's for the back of the card. So for this one, with tiny houses, I really like my card to feel nice and balanced. So I'll go ahead and put paper on the back of the card as well so that it doesn't feel weighted over here. You know, it feels even. And then let's see, whatever's left is extra. So I guess you have more extras than I thought. And then what it says to do with this one is we're going to cut 2 little pieces of these stripes. Now what those are going to be are little stripes for our beach towel. Okay. So it says a measurement here, 1 1/4 inches by 1/4 inch. Basically this is a 1/2 inch piece. So we're going to cut that thing in half. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just take the striped area out. Okay, and I don't need any of this. And then it says to cut that in half at 1/4 inch. Now, if that's a hard thing to do on the trimmer, it wouldn't matter if you just did it with your scissors, but I'm going to just kind of center it over my trimmer area. I suppose if you were worried about it, you could even use some temporary tape to hold it down on your trimmer and then cut through the middle. Okay, now does it matter if they're even? Not really. Like I said, it's just stripes on the end of our towels. Now it says to cut those to 1 1/4 inches, but it's just as easy to just trim them to fit on class day. So I'm just going to call them good like this, throw them into my class day baggie. Okay, so that's everything for our first paper, which was the Tide Pool. All right, next paper is our sandbar paper. So it's this one. The first cut has been made at 4 3/4 inch, and that is the only piece that we're going to need for class. So all of this is left over. Okay. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut 2 4-inch pieces. Then we're going to be left with a 4-inch piece that we're going to cut down to a 3 by 3. Okay, so 4 and 4, 4 and 4. Okay, and what these are going to be is the sand. And, oh, I guess they go this way, inside the card. Okay, and then from this leftover piece, we need to get a 3 by 3 piece of sand for the front of the card. So 3 by 3. Okay, we don't need these little leftover pieces. So these 3 pieces go in our class day baggie. Okay, so there is card or paper number 2. All right, we have 2 pieces of cardstock where you got the entire piece, and that's your aquamarine, which is your darker teal, okay, and then the snow cone, which is the lighter blue. Okay, so let's start with aquamarine. So this is a good example of when it's been cut, but then I need to cut that piece down some more too. So see how it says 3 1/4, 3, and then 5.75? Well, one of these is, the wider one is, let me show you this way, sorry. The wider one is already 6 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1/4. So that's basically the equivalent of these first 2 stripes. So the first cut was actually down here, that they did the one closer to the middle instead of this first one, because I told them to, not because anybody did anything wrong. But now I need you to cut that at 3 inches. So the wider one, take the wider one of the 2. The thinner one is leftover. And this one, we're going to cut a 3-inch strip off of it. Okay, and that is going in the die cutting pile. So we have our first piece for our die cutting pile. It's that 3-inch strip. All right, what's left is this 3 1/4 inch strip, of which we need a 3 1/4 inch square, and then the leftovers also go in the die cutting pile. So it's already 3 1/4. We just need to turn it and do 3 1/4 on the width. Okay, and then that square, which is for the front of our card right here, is going to go into the class day baggie. And this one joins its friend in the die cutting pile. And you can kind of see here as we develop them that the pieces that we're making will end up showing up down here in the die cutting pile. So there's our 2 pieces of aquamarine. All right, so snow cone is what we're going to cut the actual card out of. And this is a 5 by 6 landscape card. So 5 inches this way, full 12 this way. And it has actually already been cut for you because the first cut is at 5 inches. So you're looking for the piece that's 5, not the piece that's 7. And the piece that 5 needs to be scored right in the middle for folding. So if you only have your trimmer, you can go to 6 inches, find a tool or something. Don't use your blade, a tool or something to score it. Or if you have a scoring board, then I would use that. So you know what? I'm just going to use the one on top this month. So this month, the one on top is this one, but otherwise I would use my Martha Stewart one. Okay, so we need 6 inches. Okay, and then I can go ahead and fold that. Let's see, let me just use this. Okay, and there's my card, and that can go into class day. And that is all the scoring for this card, so we won't need that back out again until we get to the next card. All right, so actually, you know what? There is no other snow cone used in this card, so this is all left over. Enough for another card base, which is great. All right, and then we do have to get an actual trimmer cut piece out of our 6 by 6 square of white smoke. And that piece is 2 by 1 1/4. It's basically our beach towel. So you can see here, it says cut 1 1/4 inches and then cut a 2-inch piece off of it. 1 1/4 inches. Okay, 2 inches. That's our beach towel, and we're going to add some fringe to it later on. So that goes in class day. And then all the other pieces, or I guess the 2 remaining pieces, go in the die cutting pile. Okay, you can see those indicated right here. All right, so that is all the paper pre-cutting. Now we just need to assemble our die cutting pile from what's left. So we've got it started with the aquamarine and the white smoke, and then we should have some other pieces in our kit that are just ready to go in the die cutting pile. So one of them is a 6x12 strip of craft. We have a 6x6 square of pink lemonade, a 6x6 square of Chinese red, and then a 6x6 square of sour apple, which is the green. And that is our die cutting pile for card 1. Okay. Now I'm going to set that aside because I like to do these videos where I do the paper pre-cutting and scoring for both cards, and then I come back and do the die cutting. It just makes for nice little chunks for people that like to do it in sessions. So I'll just set this aside and get out my other one. Let's see, these are all my leftovers. Leftover pile back there. All right, now I need to switch baggies to card 2. Now this kit does have some pre-cuts because the BAM box pop-up, which is what we're going to use to pop up that house, is not one of the required dies. So if you wanted to remake the beach hut card, then there would be another die you would need, which would be our BAM box pop-up. And that makes this cute little rubber band powered box that can be used on its own to pop things up, or it will fit in the corners of our tiny house or our woven basket box cards. So it's a really versatile little die, and it comes with these lovely octagonal labels. So those have been pre-cut in 2 of the sizes for you as a place to write your personal greeting. All right, now this is a card. Wait, back up. Put this in your card 2. That was what I was all leading up to, was put your baggie of pre-cuts in your class day pile. You won't need them until class day. Okay, this is an example of really letting the paper do the work for me, because this photo play paper had these little beach huts on it, and I realized that the red one especially was really close to the size of the tiny house. And so what we're going to end up doing is fussy cutting that red house out and just gluing it to the front of the tiny house. And then we'll add some of the windows and things to the sides. And that will be our beach house looking front, which is just a great way to let paper do the work for you. And then we're also going to use the paper just along the back wall of our card as well. So this one's really, the paper's doing a lot of the work for us. And that is Photoplay's Seaside paper. Okay, so let's get our pre-cutting instructions out here. Okay, clear up my area here. All right, Seaside. Now this is another one where there's one cut made, but it's not the first cut, it's the second cut. So basically, it has been cut at 5 3/4. That's what this one is. Let's verify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3/4. Okay, this is the one we want because it has our good red house, and it has our little row of houses that we're going to use along the back wall. Now, could you use some different houses along the back wall? Yes, I just happen to know these ones fit really nicely. If you had chosen this one, you wouldn't end up with a full red one, to cut for your front of your house. So this is all extra. The one that has the UPC strip on the bottom is all extra. Okay, and this is the one we want. All right, so an important cut here, because we got to make sure that we maintain this house for fussy cutting, and we want a little strip of these houses to go along the back of our card right here. Okay, so it gives us that instruction. It says it's 2 3/8 from the bottom or 3 3/8 from the top. I'm just going to go ahead and do the 2 3/8 from the bottom. So I want 2 3/8. And your guide's going to be, if it doesn't look like you're cutting below this house and above these ones, then you've got the measurement wrong. So that's a little, make sure that you're going 2 3/8. All right, so what is 2 3/8 if you're not much of an eighths person? So right between 2 1/4 and 2 1/2. So halfway between those two, split the difference, is 2 3/8. So I'm going to put it on 2 3/8, and then I'm going to look, and this looks perfect. My wire is above this seagull, okay, but I'm preserving this entire house, and it's above this little flag. I don't think I used the flag, but yeah, 2 3/8. Okay, let's do it. Okay. And now we've got this row of houses. All right, and the ones we're going to use, it tells us in here, 2 3/8 from the bottom. So I want 2 3/8 from the bottom. So I'm going to put it on 2 3/8, and then I'm going to look, and this looks perfect. My wire is above this seagull, okay, but it's above this little flag. I don't think I used the flag, but yeah, 2 3/8. Okay. And now we've got this row of houses. All right, and the ones we're going to use, it tells us in here, You have to follow the arrow. And basically to get the chunk that we want, which is the blue house, the striped house, and the green striped house, then it says if you measure 2.5 inches from this side, 2.5 inches, okay, that will get you your left edge. So you're going to maintain the little clothesline, the little thing on it. And then it says this width is 4 3/4. So now we're going out to 4 3/4 and cutting again. So it should be just a little bit to the left of the red house. Now, technically, you could use that red house because we end up having to trim the roof overhangs anyway to fit. See that? The roof overhangs have been chopped off anyway. So you could use this red house if you wanted to. I ended up just saying to fussy cut this one, so you could just cut out the whole house, glue it on, and then trim your roof to fit. But if you wanted to keep this whole entire thing pristine, you could end up using this one. But what it says to do is it says, why is this one in the class day pile? Oh, never mind. We do want this one. I mean, we don't want to, we want to cut this one. Okay, sorry. I remembered something. All right, this goes in class day pile or class day baggie. I remembered that this ended up 4 3/4, which was very fortuitous because we can use the blue side to tear and put here, and I didn't have to have you chop into your leftover paper. So this was kind of a paper saver that we didn't have to get into this one at all by doing our waves through this one. And we're actually gonna be able to cut beech on a diagonal through this one. So this one goes in our die cutting pile. This one goes in our class day pile. Okay, and this one is where we're gonna fussy cut that house. So it says here, fussy cut the red house for the class day pile and then just put the rest of it in the class day pile because we'll use a little bit of the leftover blue on the front here. Okay, so I am not going to fussy cut the whole thing on the video. I'm just going to chunk it out and then I'll just do it at some point before class. Okay, but when you fussy cut it, you're just going to go along the edge of the white and then along the roof, and then at the edge of the white, and then go right at the base of the stairs. So you'll see in the pictures in your handout. See, right at the base of the stairs, and then you're going to preserve the white. Okay, and it's fine to go ahead and keep your roof overhangs for now, and we'll just trim them off on class day when we glue this to the house. Okay. All right, so this one goes in class day. And then this all goes in class day as well. Now, what's going to be used for, what it's going to be used for, is just a little torn piece to go there on the front. So if it doesn't fit in your baggie, feel free to just fold it and make it fit. We're not going to use very much of it. All right, so that is our seaside paper. And then beach day is the other one. This fun paper. It's been started for you. The first cut has been made at 4.5 inches. That is the only strip we need for class. So all of this is left over. This one is going to become a square for the front of the card. So I'm going to cut that at 4.5 inches. Put that in class day. And then what it says from the leftovers is it says cut a 3 1/4 inch square. Okay, so 3 1/4, 3 1/4. Okay, and that's going to be polka dot side up. Going to go on there like that for class day. Okay, these are leftovers. That's our die cutting pile. All right, this did not add anything to our die cutting pile. So, all right, we have a little 6x6 square of craft that we have to get a couple trimmer cuts out of before we can get into die cutting. So in your kit should be a 6x6 of craft. So craft's the lighter brown versus the chocolate, which is the darker. So the craft, what we need is we need a 3/8 of an inch strip and we need a 2-inch strip. So 3/8 is going to be splitting the difference between a 1/4 and a 1/2. And I'm going to measure over here on the right side because my trimmer allows me to do that. So that's going to be a strip like that. And then we need a 2-inch strip. as well. Okay, so these pieces are going to go into our class day pile. All right, and then this is going to go into our die cutting pile. So die cut so far has got blue and craft. All right, and then our big piece of cardstock that's used for the card itself is the, I love this cardstock. This is from the paper cut. It is called Autumn Hay Patalic. Patalic is kind of a fun word. And this one's going to become our card. It's already been cut at 5 inches. So we're going to start with that 5-inch piece. Now it's going to be almost, not quite, a 5x5 square card because we're going to cut the top panel 1/8 of an inch short. And that's just going to allow for an easier time of getting the corners under those corner stops. Okay, so this is purposely cut a little bit short to assist in how it operates. All right, so what that means is instead of cutting it at 10 inches, we're going to cut it at 9 7/8 of an inch. So we go out here to 10 and come back 1/8 at a little corner there that wasn't very nice. So I'm going to do this end. So 9 7/8. Okay, then it says this goes in the die cutting pile and this one gets scored. Okay, we can go ahead and score it at 5 inches because it doesn't matter, you know. Basically, one's going to be 5 inches and the other one's going to be 4 7/8. So it's going to be a little shorter. So I'm going to score that at 5 inches. When I fold that over, I should see that it comes short. That is correct. That comes short like that. And then that's going to go into our class day baggie. All righty. All right, then we need to get a 4 7/8 inch piece, a square essentially, out of this one. And that's going to go on the back of the card. So a little bit for strength, but mostly because we're going to add these little corner strips. And so that we can clean that up, we're going to add a little square of cardstock. I love to cut those pieces of cardstock just a smidge shorter than the actual card. So the panel here is a 5x5, so I like to cut that 4 7/8 so it doesn't come quite to the edge. Makes it a lot easier on class day. If you've ever had one that you get a little off and it's hanging over, that's and then you have to sit there with your trimmer or your scissors and trim it off. Okay, so it says to do it this way: 4 7/8. Get a long strip first, and then I believe, yeah, this is extra. Okay, then this one's going to turn, go to 4 7/8. Okay, so there's my big piece for the back of the card. Put that in there. Then with what's left, we actually need a 1/4 inch strip. So we need a little skinny strip, 1/4 of an inch. And that's what we're going to use to make these little corners. So then now we just have to make our die cutting pile. So we already have 3 pieces to start it. And then we also need to add our big 6x12 strip of tangy orange. We have oh, I see it's missing on my thing. So chocolate, sour apple, and white smoke. Which white smoke is, okay, it used to be there. I forgot to hit the option key or whatever when I drug it over here to do the thing on it. So then it disappeared from here. I'll fix it. Yours is, it's there on yours. Okay, so we have our die cutting pile ready and we're ready for die cutting for both cards. Okay, back with die cutting for card number 1. So another thing that was emailed to you with these handouts is your April 2023 class die guide. So this is helpful if you're reading along in your instructions and it says, well, I want you to cut a trunk that's left facing, that you have a little visual of the dies that you can match that up and figure out, you know, what's a bar top, what's a thatched roof look like. So this is the shapes of the dies and what they're called. And so that can be really helpful as you're reading those instructions. But of course, if you're just following along with me, then I'm just going to tell you what those things are. Okay, let me get here to page 2. So die cutting instructions the way you read these is it's first going to tell you what paper we're die cutting. Then it's going to tell you which die set or sets, in this case, to grab. Then it's going to give you the instruction for die cutting and, so on and so forth. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get our aquamarine strips out. And I guess it doesn't matter which one we use as long as the tiny house will fit on it. So, oh, and then on the dies themselves, I've already transferred my pieces to magnet sheets. That makes it much easier on the die cutting process. So there's my 4 required dies. All right, so tiny house. So it says we're going to use from the tiny house, our actual tiny house. All right, that would fit on either of them, so I'm just going to do it here. I'm going to go ahead and use a temporary tape and tape that down. Okay. All right, then what we want to do is we want to nest in the bar pieces from our beach bar tiny house add-on. So these are the ones that are going to cut the bar windows into the sides of the house. And they must in these 2 center ones, the ones that have tabs attached to the bottom. That is where these must go. Okay, you don't get to change your mind on this because of the way the beach bar works is those bars have to be supported on little feet, and that requires being built in the fold. So if you've ever made a tiny house, you may notice that this one folds differently than usual because a lot of times we build tiny houses, most times really, so that they collapse to the back. But for a beach bar, because we need to be able to anchor those beach bar supports, it always will fold to the front. And because of that, this is the front, the one that has a tab at the bottom, and this is the side. So this is how you have to do it when you're making a beach bar. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that pointed one and we're just going to get it in there so we have an equal border here and here. And then for this one, it can be difficult to know which way is up. Well, there's an arrow cut out in the die to tell you which way is up. So make sure your arrow is up when you put that in there. And again, I would recommend go ahead and taping these so that they don't move. You don't really want crooked windows. You want them to be nice and straight. Then what die cutting machine? It's whatever you've got that's big enough to carry this die, right? So I've got my Spellbinders Platinum 6, whatever die set that you like to use that will accommodate a wafer thin die. Okay. All right. This is all going to become clear when I take these off. So don't lose your roof support. We need that. That's the roof support that comes out of the tiny house. And then, okay, tiny house itself. I'll save that for something. So see what those other dies do is they basically create this little support system for the bars, which we'll do all the folding and training and stuff on class day, but I just kind of wanted to show you what that is. Since you want to be able to put it in your baggie, feel free to fold that on that center line. And this is textured cardstock, but you'll be able to tell if you got it right on the center if those two line up. So if you want to fold that in the center to make it easier to put into your baggie, you can do that. Card 1. We're back to our card 1 baggie on this one. Okay, so there's our beach bar. All right, so tape the dies in place and die cut. We did that. Oh, sorry, roof support. Just said, hey, and don't lose your roof support. Put that in there too. All right, now from the beach bar tiny house add-ons, we also want to cut 2 sets of bar supports. Will give us 4 total pieces. So again, consulting our die guide, we can see that the bar supports is the die that looks like this. Basically those 2 little legs. See, they've got a little score line in them. So those are the legs that hold up the bar, and we need 2 sets of them. Okay, and put that from anywhere, save your paper if you want to. All right, and while we are in the business of die cutting, we might as well keep going on the same color. So we need a beach shadow and an every hour is out of our word set. So going to our word set, every hour is. Let's see if I can fit that right there. I can. And then we need a beach shadow. So, okay, that might have to go into the other piece. Oh, and you might need a pokey tool too to get the more intricate dies out. Okay, so here's our first two beach bar supports. You see they've got that little foot in them at one end. That's what attaches to the card. Okay, so those two go into our class day baggie. And then we need to cut that die again because we need two sets. Every hour is, and every is still in my die. Let me find something to poke that out. I have so many pokey tools. Somehow can't put my finger on one. Okay, we'll just use these tweezers. Okay, every hour is. So the way that die set can be used with the beach bar is you can make it say every hour is happy hour at the beach, or you could have it say every, or at the beach, maybe on the front, every hour is happy hour. So it's great when you want to make those happy hour cards. But what I wanted to do for class was to just have it say every hour is happy at the beach. And that way, if you were sending that to somebody who, doesn't imbibe or, just wouldn't be appropriate, then, or child or something like that, you could change up that greeting so that it doesn't have to be happy hour. Even though happy hour could also mean, I suppose it's just an hour that's happy, but you know what I mean. Okay, so now we need to get into our other piece of aquamarine so that we can get the beach shadow. Okay, so we'll go this way. Okay, and then there's lots of ways that you can change up the greetings and stuff on that beach set. And there's also the sassy beach please. That's an option with that beach set too. Okay, beach shadow. So I think that's everything out of aquamarine. This goes in my class day baggie. Let me just verify. We have our tiny house, two sets of bar supports for 4 total pieces, 1 beach shadow, and 1 every hour is. Okay, now we're going on to our words or white smoke. Now it says, oh, we're going to cut like little drinks and things from this. Okay, so we want 1 set of thatched roof pieces to make 2 total pieces. Note, run the die through the machine vertically as shown twice because it's an intricate die. So that's this piece here. So this one has a ton of little lines next to it. And for most machine, now, it sort of depends on the pressure in your machine, how old are your cutting pads, things like that. You know what it's like with intricate dies. This one's an intricate die. So if you can't get it in your machine going twice, then you may have to get your metal shim out, or you may have to, go with newer cutting pads or something. But usually what I have found is if you go vertical like this and you hit it twice, it'll go. So, oops, 1. And then as soon as it clears it, I'm going to come back through the other way. Okay, let's see how it did. Even if you feel like it, well, that mine did fine. But see, even if it's just a little connected there, it usually is fine. And it will come out. So you can see that cut it just perfectly. All right, let's say that your machine's maybe a little older, has less pressure, or your cutting pads are kind of worn down. The other thing too is definitely try and find an area on your cutting pad that isn't worn down. So go up in a corner if you need to. If it stayed connected, it's most likely going to be just this little center section right here of this one. So this one's going to like pop out, and this one's going to stay connected right there, okay? If that became something that annoyed you because of whatever, the pressure of your machine or whatever, you could always take a little piece of tape and essentially shim by adding some tape right over that section that you're not getting good pressure. And then when you roll it through, you're getting extra pressure just where your tape is. And that would probably do it as well. So at worst, if you can't get your thatched roof to cut beautifully every time, is you could go with your metal, the metal shims that you use for intricate dies. Okay, so that came out of Beach Bar Tiny House Ads. These are actually, the white ones we're using for fringe on our beach towel. What we're doing with that one. Okay. Then we're going to cut some drinks, and we're also going to cut the word beach out of beach happy hour. So let's get that. We have this piece. We can probably get the word beach out of that, and those drinks out of the beach bar are very small. I might be able to get all three of them out of that little piece there. Okay, if they don't slide, you can tape them down. If they don't slide, I can get them all out of this. Okay, now don't take the, if the drinks stay in your die, that's good because we're going to stencil them. So don't take them out. If they stuck in, that's actually a good thing. So leave it in. If it didn't stick, then you'll have to put it back in. So like my margarita went flying. I'm going to put my margarita back in the die. Okay. And then my martini. Let's see, my beach stayed in. Okay, my martini is still in there. Okay, so these, the drinks are stenciled. Same thing with the one that matches that's on the beach borders. Okay, so that you don't have to glue a bunch of tiny little pieces on. You can use pens for that. So my favorite are Staedtler Tripless Fine Liners. I absolutely love these for stenciling dies. They come in a variety of colors. And what I suggested is a red hurricane, some sort of green margarita, and like a blue martini, which I don't know which blue. I'm going to use this darker blue. But that's up to you. These are your cocktails. Okay, so here's the martini. The martini is the one that's a triangle. So I'm just going to fill that in. Okay, so here's my cute little martini. That's ready for class day. And then for the hurricane, I'm going to do red. Now you could sponge through the dies with ink if you didn't have pens. That works as well. So however you want to do your cocktails, you can. But definitely stenciling or sponging is way easier than having to glue a bunch of tiny pieces on. Okay, so here's the margarita. All right, we got the drinks, and then we need the beach word of white. Okay, don't want to lose my little drinks. Put those right back on my magnet sheet. All righty, then what else do we have? Okay, so roof pieces we got martini, hurricane, margarita, and then the word beach. All right, so any white that's left over. Okay. All right, sour apple, we're only using these for palm tree fronds. So those come out of the Beach Bar Tiny House add-ons that comes with a cute palm tree. So you get the frond that fits either one of the trunks. So you've got a trunk that will point to the left, and you have a trunk that will point to the right so that you can have variety, but the frond fits either one. So we just need 3 of these fronds out of the green. Okay. And you would not want to use, you would not want to use double-sided adhesive on the back of those fronds because they are sticking up in the air. So you want to, we'll just use glue to attach them on class day. Okay. Now we are going to use this exact same color in card 2 to do the exact same thing, which is to cut 3 palm fronds. So if you don't want to get into, sorry, my cutting pads got off. I hate it when I do that. Oh my gosh, it takes so much effort. If you don't want to dig into your other 6-inch piece with the other card, you can put this one in the die cutting pile for card 2. and then you'll have a full 6x6 left over. So that's what I'm going to do. Alrighty, so we've got our 3 palm fronds, got a sour apple, and then we're going to craft. Okay, so craft, we want to cut a bunch of pieces. So out of our Beach Bar Tiny House add-ons, we want to get a roof. That's the tiny house. Ah, that's the wrong die set on there, Karen. Okay, sorry, out of Tiny House, 1157 Tiny House, pop up, we want to get a roof. That's this one. Okay, this one has a really cool stamping feature that'll put shingles on the roof and things, but you don't need any of that because we're going to cover it up with thatched roof. So it's basically just the foundation of our thatched roof. So you just have to cut it. Oh, and speaking of, we could get some more things going at the same time. So right trunks, 2 right trunks and 2 left trunks. Now, the way I do them is if you're looking at the back of the die. So if it points to the right, that's a right trunk. And if you're looking at the back of the die and it points to the left, that's a left trunk. So we're going to need 2 rights, 1 left. We're also going to do 2 bar tops. So this is your bar top out of your Beach Bar Tiny House add-ons. Add-ons. We're going to need 2 of those. We're going to get 4 of these sand pieces. Okay, so we can start working on that. 3 sets of thatched roof pieces. I think I'm going to do those separately because they are intricate. So that way we can focus on running them through twice. So here we go. Cut number 1. Okay. Okay, some pieces we only needed 1 of, so we only need 1 of those roofs. So that one's done. You can actually see the shingle pattern on it. Very cool. But you won't see it in this card because we're going to thatch that roof. All right, sand number 1. We got to get 4 of those. On palm fronds, we only needed 1 left trunk. So that's this one. So that one can go back. But we need 2 right, so we've got to do the right again. And we needed 2 bar tops, so we've got to do another bar top as well. Alrighty. So bar top, sand, right trunk. Okay, that finishes out the palm fronds and it finishes out the bar tops, but I still have to go forward with sand. Okay, these 2 can all go in there. All right, 2 more sands. I could try cutting them both at the same time because that's a pretty open die. But then I have to stack the cardstock, and by the time I cut it and stack it and try not to have it slide, it's probably just as fast to roll it through twice. Three. Okay, sand times 4. All right, now all that's left out of craft is our thatched roof pieces. So it cuts 2, we need 6, so we're gonna have to cut this 3 times. And again, the goal is go vertical with it and hit it twice if you need to, and you probably will need to. So just, oh. Okay, there's our first 2. Yeah, it's interesting with these ones. I actually find that vertical works better than diagonal, and usually I'm a huge advocate of diagonal on intricate dies, but for whatever reason, this one just loves the vertical. Seems to be where it gets the most pressure. But you could certainly experiment if you're not getting good. Alrighty, 6 craft thatch roof pieces. All right, ready for class day. All right, you got lots of craft left over. Once again, I think we used this in the other card, so if you wanted to throw this in your other die cutting pile, save you your 6x6 in your other. Okay. Pink lemonade. So this is going to be for flamingos. All right, so we've got a flamingo border and we have a whole bunch of individual flamingos. So the flamingo border is out of the beach borders. That's this one. And then you've got individual flamingos, 2 of them, out of your Beach Bar Tiny House add-ons. Okay, so let's just do this border. And let's get one of each of these. There are a couple of these individual flamingos that we're only going to use to back the other ones that are standing. So in other words, that's going to be a sandwich of 2 flamingos. So the one in the back doesn't need any stenciling. It's just for strength. So we're going to end up doing 2 of those right-facing flamingos and 1 of the left-facing flamingos with no stenciling. So I might as well just get those while I'm doing this border. But the border is going to get stenciled. So let's see. Let's take these guys out here. All right, since these are my backing flamingos, I don't have to do any stenciling on those. This one, the actual border, we're going to use that on the front of the card. And so it's going to get some stenciling. So I'm going to put that back in the die again. Okay. And I'm going to use black for the eyes. We're not going to end up using all of the flamingos, but I might as well just stencil all of them. Now the wings, it would be up to you as to whether you used a pen or whether you sponged with ink. I'm just going to use a pink pen. I'm going to trace around them first. Sometimes I'll trace around them and then still use pink ink to color them in. But I think on this one I'm just going to color. Oops, okay, this one's ready to be colored because I got way off on the thing. So you could also, you could just trace it if you wanted to and then color it with your Copics. Copics don't do so well actually through the die as a stencil. I haven't found, unless you're using the chisel tip, because they tend to kind of bleed under the die. If you emboss it first, then it pushes the paper up into the die, and that kind of helps if you're using Copics. But generally, if I wanted to use Copics, I'd probably trace it first with a pen like this, and then take the die off, and then just fill it in, you know, like I was coloring in a stamp or something. There is actually a stencil feature to do stitch lines across the bottom border. We're not even going to use the bottom border on this card. It's going to get cut off and replaced with sand, or covered with sand, I guess, whichever way. So that's all that needs to be done now. And then we'll worry about the legs and the beaks on class day. So one of the things I suggested that you bring on class day, you could do that with a thin one like this. But actually my favorite on beaks and legs is a brush style marker like a Copic, because let me grab one. I just find that it's just a lot quicker, you know, to be able to just go over it with a brush marker like that. So if you've got something like a black Copic or a dark gray or something, that would be great for class day. Okay, well, I'll do the rest on class day. Okay, I'm gonna leave my pink out. Don't need my black right now. This is done. but we have to do some more individual flamingos. So some of these we're going to make stickers. So let's see. Let me look here again. All right, so we need a left flamingo and 3 right flamingos with double-sided tape. And then we need 1 left flamingo. The left is the shorter one, and 2 rights that don't have any adhesive on them. So let me get another right. Okay. And again, I don't have to stencil these ones because they're just the ones in the back. All right, now I'm going to use some double-sided adhesive. So I do so much making of stickers that I buy the big score tape brand, the Sukwang brand tape in a big roll like this because I use it so much. But you can also get rolls of tape, you know, that are thinner, and you could use strips of them if you needed to. So just whatever double-sided tape. I do like this brand though, because this brand it's thick. The backing sheet is thick enough that it generally leaves them as stickers, which I like. All right, so I want enough to do several flamingos. So I need it to basically be about this much. Okay. And then I like to go ahead and cut the area that I have taped so that I don't get the dye off of the taped area. All right, that should be enough to do everything I have left, which is, where are you going, flamingo? Okay, so I know we need rights and lefts, so at least we need at least one of each. It's going to be three rights and 1 left, I think. 3 rights and 1 left, correct. Okay, so okay, once again, I'm going to stencil the wing and black for the eye. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off and do that in class day. All right, and then I need, I think I'm done with left. Yes, but I need 2 more rights. Now these little flamingos are going to look cute with the tiny house when you're doing like year-round tiny houses as well. They don't have to be actual flamingos on the beach. They could be little yard flamingos, you know. Maybe you could use a bandbox or something to pop them up out in the yard. Be cute. All right. And then 1 more right flamingo. Oops, forgot all my not sticky ones too. Now, the reason you only needed 3 not sticky ones, but 4 of the sticky ones is because 1 goes on the front of the card and it doesn't need a backer. Okay, there we go. There's all of our flamingos. So anything that's left, which I'll keep that because I could get 2 more flamingos out of it, is left over. We only have 1 color left for card 1, and that is our Chinese red. Okay, so this one's going to be for crabs and some words. So we want to get 2 crab borders, stencil the eyes with a black pen, and then we need a happy and an at the. So that, well, it's really happy hour. Does it say that? It should say happy hour, even though we're only going to use the happy part of it. Okay. Happy hour, because it's all in one die. And at the. Okay, and then we're going to do crab borders. We're going to get 2 of them. Okay, so with happy hour, we'll trim happy off on class day. So you can just put that whole thing in class day. Then we've got the at the. And then with the crabs, again, we're going to take advantage of the stencil feature so that we don't have to glue on little tiny eyes. Just use a black pen. Then you've got that cute little border. I love those little crabs. Oops, come on out of there. Okay, and then we need a second crab border. Let's see here. I'm going to go along here and here. And there's our at the. We're going to do 1 little leftover crabs. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's 8 on the row. So we'll be able to trim off 1 little crab from each of those borders and put those somewhere. Now, you know, if your die gets a little warped this way from use, you can bend it back. I mean, don't go crazy, but you can, you know, kind of. Just stenciling the eyes and done. All right, cute border number 2. All right, so I think that's everything out of red. Excellent. Okay, so then this is leftover. And we have arrived at class day instructions on card 1, so that means we are done die cutting for card 1. Okay, let me dive into card 2 next. Okay, card 2, and remember I've got leftover craft and green from card 1, so first thing I'm going to do is find my craft and my green and just put them in leftovers right now because I can use these instead. Okay, so there's not a ton, it's not as much die cutting on card 2 because we are letting a lot of the paper do the work for us. So you can see it's not as much. Okay, we are going to start with craft cardstock again, and we're going to get some trunks for our palm trees. I'm going to just go ahead and make this piece a little smaller because 6 inches through my machine kind of annoys me. So I got to get so perfect on it. Okay, so palm trunks, and we need 2 left and 1 right. So remember when you're looking at the back of the die, whichever way it points. So that's a left and that's a right. And actually palm trunks are all we get out of craft for this card. So okay, that's it. Okay, we're done with right. We need a second left. Okay. So make sure that you're in card 2 on your baggie. You're putting your pieces in. All right, that's everything for craft. All right, word set 16, beach happy hour. Oh, that's the seaside paper. So that's the one where we've got the blue. And we want to get a beach word, blue side up. So I think I figured out that this will fit if you go diagonally on it. Tape that down since it barely fits. Okay, the word beach. Okay, that's trash, unless you think you can get something out of it. It's pretty small. Okay, then we've got out of autumn hay, so that's this one. We're going to do the window backers for our windows. So those little shiny pieces in there. Now it does say let's go ahead and make these stickers. So let's look at the piece. These are the window backers. It's the set of 4 rectangles out of the tiny house. So we only need a little small piece. I can use some of my leftover stuff here. I always just keep, I mean, if they get too small, then I don't keep them anymore, but little pieces can often be used for die cutting if you have little hearts or anything that you want to make into stickers. Okay, so there is window backers out of autumn hay, which is the only thing we need out of that. Now, I should be able to do something else on here while I'm in the business of cutting. So, like maybe, yeah, I'll go in order. So it's not confusing. Oops. Now, the goal is not to have everything pop through the back. The goal is just to get the die off. So if you can kind of push the pieces in the middle so that they release, then those are peel up stickers. So you don't really want to poke them all the way through unless you have to, or it just goes automatically. But that's why I like that Sukwang brand, because it tends to allow me to do peel up stickers where they haven't just, pressed all the way through. Okay, then on chocolate, which is the dark brown, we need our 3 sets of thatched roof pieces. And again, we got to go vertical on those. So I think what I will do with that, make sure I don't have a sticker. Okay. Guess I'm only going to be able to get 2 out of that. Okay. Well, then we also need a roof from the tiny house. Did I cut that wide enough for that roof? I mean, barely. Okay, can do that. Set of window frames with double-sided adhesive, set of flower boxes with double-sided adhesive, and a beach shadow. I hope I'm going to get everything out of a 6x6. I may have been a little frugal with your chocolate. Okay, there's my roof out of the tiny house. Here's my first set of thatched. Oh, that cut fine. All right, so then this. Go vertical like that, and that'll be my third one. Okay, then set of window frames and a set of flower boxes and a beach shadow. So let me get the beach shadow. Beach shadow. Second set of, this one didn't get super good pressure right there, but actually it cut through. So check them. You may think that it didn't, but it did. It really is better on these to run them by themselves too, because the other dies that you have on the thing can lift up your rollers enough to where it's not, oh, come on. Boy, you get a workout with this die cutting sometimes. Okay. Whew. Okay, thatch, done. Done, done, done. Okay, window frames and flower boxes. So window frames and flower boxes out of the tiny house pop-up. These. Okay, so I only need enough tape. Tons of leftovers. Do that right there. Okay. Oops. Okay, window frames and flower boxes. Okay, again, the idea is just try and get the pieces to release to where you can lift the die up and off. I mean, at worst, you could just put them back in the positioning, but all right. Almost. Oh, got it. Oh, almost. Took this one with me. I don't care about the middle parts, so if they come out, it just puts me a little bit ahead on class day, not having to weed them. Okay, so I think that's everything out of chocolate. So we have 3 tapped fruit, we have a roof, we have a set of window frames, we have a set of flower boxes, and we have a beach shadow. So that is everything. Alrighty, then moving on to sour apple. That's the one that we took the leftovers from. First one, and we need 3 fronds again. Okay. Let's see if I can get them all out of this one. But I don't know that I can. One. If you're good at puzzles. Yeah, this is gonna just do one. I'm going to have to go into my other piece. Okay, 2 and 3. All right, 3 palm fronds. This is leftover. And then tangy orange. So this is going to be for our actual house and roof support. So I didn't have you cut it down yet, but you can just do that with scissors. Well, it's 6 inches, so I guess you could just go through the machine, but I don't love a 6-inch piece through my machine because I have to be so perfect. So I'm going to cut it down. Oops. Okay, remember there's 2 pieces that come out of that. The roof support is in there too, so don't lose the roof support. You cut that one. And again, if you want to fold that in the middle to fit it in your baggie. All right, tangy orange also gets the happy hour word. Once again, we're only going to end up using happy. This word set is also good for happy hour outside of the beach. So we have like happy hour charms and wine charms and stuff. There's a cheers word in our collection that might work well with it. So you could do happy hour, please. So yes, alrighty, that is everything for tangy orange, house and roof support, and happy hour. Okay, and then our last piece is our white. All right, white. We need to get a set of flower boxes with double-sided adhesive tape. We're going to do a shark border stenciling the eyes and the gills, and we're going to do the word beach. Okay, so let's get our shark border and the word beach. We'll do those at the same time. Okay, with the sharks, there is a stencil feature to add the eyes and the gills. Okay. Oops. Go. And I'm just using a black pen. Gills. Okay, and we'll end up coloring the sharks gray using ink on class day. So bring some gray ink if you got some in a blending tool. Now, let's say you don't have any gray ink, then look through your scraps and see if you have some gray cardstock and just die cut the sharks again out of gray. That would work too. And just still stencil the words on, or not the words. You know what I mean. The eyes and the gills. All right, there's our white word beach. And then the last thing is to get some flower boxes out of the tiny house add-ons that we're going to use as awnings, essentially. So that's just this little piece here. Don't need much. I'm going to make those into a sticker. So, I mean, if you didn't make these stickers, it would be fine. You just have to glue them on. So it's not, if you don't have any tape, it's fine. Okay. Perfect. Alrighty, so that should be everything for card 2. Beach, shark border, set of flower boxes. We got it. We did it, y'all. It wasn't too bad this month, which is good because I'm a couple days late with your prep work, and I apologize. I tend to underestimate how long those handouts take me, and then this month with the diagrams and things, I was working longer on them than I thought I was. So, okay, cool. I'm going to lay out these pieces and take a picture of them so that you have a pieces picture. And you just have to get this prep work done before Zoom class on April 15th at 11 a.m. Central. It goes as long as it goes, but usually it's 4 hours. If you miss some or all of the class, you come in late, we do record it, and you will have access to that on Sunday. So Saturday is the class, and Sunday I have it. Now, how do you get to the class day video if you miss class? Well, your store that you bought the kit from, they're going to email you that link, but they may not email you that link until Monday. But if you'll come right back to this video that you're watching right now, I will put the class day link in the description box of this video as soon as it is available. So that's kind of the backdoor way to get in because they are unlisted. So if you just come right back to this video the day after class, then it'll be in there. And that's how you always get to it. So you'll have the link to the prep work video that you're watching right now. That'll be here in your handout. You can go to that prep work video, and then you can get the link to the class day video. All right, I will see everybody in a week. Thank you so much.